a way for us to get tested for parasites to know 100% that we have them?
You can get a stool test. Unfortunately, in the day and age we live right now, parasite testing and mold testing and Lyme testing is not accurate and affordable and available the way that it
Right.
should be. So I got tested by two different labs when I first found out what was wrong with me. I got tested by LabCorp, which is a Western medicine lab that's covered by
Mhm.
insurance. And then the same stool I sent to Mexico to an independent lab, and that came back positive, showing me crypto and roundworm. But unfortunately, the LabCorp test came back negative. And at the bottom of the lab slip, it always says this is not in lieu of a parasitic infection. So you
Oh.
still have to be proactive. And that's why this is so viral, because you should just be cleansing 3 to 4 times a year like other countries do. We just don't in our country.
Are there any biomarkers that we should be looking at, like in our blood? Like, how would we, if something is coming back negative, is there something we would know?
You can look at a test EOS that it's on your blood work. There's like basophils, eosinophils, all of those will be heightened. And it's because your body's fighting inside of the cell to remove that environmental toxin that it doesn't understand. It's an evader. And so your body's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So it heightens the blood, it heightens your alertness because they can hijack our nervous system. They can live in our blood, our tissue, and our muscle. And so the body starts to kind of fight against itself in order for you to get those numbers. That's the best way to do it for blood work because your body is alerting you through that blood work and also during the full moon. You should definitely do testing, stool testing, and your blood testing during the full moon because they're heightened. They're in
Why?
your body. Well, they live off of serotonin in your body. And that's why
Okay.
during the full moon, people go a little crazy because serotonin is high, melatonin is low. And so they're literally hopping on a serotonin river, making their way through your body, trying to find better waterfront property to lay more of their family. And then all of a sudden, you're not feeling well, but your body starts going into a reactive state and trying to protect itself. And so your numbers will be higher. And it is the best time to actually do parasite testing.
But if a doctor's looking at your blood work and they see that those numbers you're talking about are higher, would they automatically assume it's something else and never look at parasites? I mean, I feel like I've never even heard a doctor talk to me about parasites.
Unfortunately, no, they will not discuss it. It's not something that's in their realm. It's something that is not really studied, to be honest with you. And I'm an expert in this at this point because of the fact that one, I actually have all of my medical records from the day I was born, and so I can go back in and see when my target levels were the highest and when I felt the worst. So that's my
Hmm.
own personal experience. But my professional side of it is that I would train lab technicians, and I also wrote academia for allied health, and it wasn't anything that we ever talked about. I would say we probably got a week of studying in both the colleges that I ran and also my own personal studies. It just isn't something that we ever thought was an issue in our country. So it's not within our books, right?
Right.
Our educational books. It's not there. It's a blimp. You read it and you move on, kind of like nutrition,
Yeah,
kind of like what's
sure.
going on with nutrition. We don't really study it.
Yeah. So, can you walk us through what some of the symptoms are if you have a parasite? And I'm assuming, and you'll tell me, do different parasites give you different symptoms? Like, walk us through all of that.
Different parasites can give you different symptoms. The common symptoms of most parasitic infections or just having a parasite, there are two different things. You can have a parasite that overrules your body and causes you to just really decline. And you can also just have symptoms that just are chronic. One of them is grinding the teeth. That's a huge one that people think it's just stress. But unfortunately, when you have a parasite and you're grinding your teeth, it's because they've hijacked your nervous system. They've also absorbed minerals and vitamins that you need in order for you to not grind your teeth, which is like magnesium and calcium. And they can absorb those nutrients. And that's why your body is in a reactive state by making you grind your teeth. We all think it's stress, right?
Right. You
TMJ.
mean like grinding your teeth when you sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then drooling, that's a big one because it's trying to get things to escape out of your body. These are reactive ways that your body's telling you something's going on.
Wait, what do you mean drooling? Who's walking around
Drooling, drooling at night.
like when you sleep?
Yeah, yeah. Drooling at night,
Okay.
grinding your
So
teeth.
it's not just you're sleeping with your mouth open.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like physical things were moving out of your body. I
Okay.
know, it's so gross. Trust me. I left urgent care when I was in the field because I don't like parasites. And then I
Right.
became worm queen. And I'm
Oh
like, all
my
right, I'm
God.
embracing it all.
Give me some more symptoms so people
Okay.
listening and me can wonder if we have this.
IBS, IBD, anxiety, heightened anxiety. Your nervous system is just not in a great space. You're bloating when you drink water. That's a big one. They're going to expand. Your body doesn't know how to process things, so it starts to expand. And anytime you eat anything that makes you get bloated as well. But really, a lot of gut issues is a big one. Your gut is, between 22 and 30 the intestine long. So there's a lot there for them to live in there. They don't
Right.
just live there, but there's a lot for them to be able to go in. They absorb your nutrients. So if you're malnourished, if you gain weight and lose weight and you can't figure out why, that's a really big one because people think that when you have something like a tapeworm that you're going to be skinny, but unfortunately when they're absorbing all of your nutrients, you are actually not able to process things in your body that needs those nutrients because they can absorb 6 to 8 times their weight in spores, nutrients, heavy metals.
But so wouldn't that mean that you still have this thing inside of you that's huge if they're absorbing the stuff or it doesn't work like that?
It doesn't always work that it's a huge thing. They're thin. So like if you think about how a hookworm resembles your vein and it can go right along your vein absorbing your iron.
Got
So a
it.
lot of people that have anemia, they'll recommend them taking iron, but if you're not absorbing that iron and you're taking it all the time, you probably should do a parasite cleanse just to see if you can start absorbing the iron because it starts to disable out the hookworm that's in your body. And a lot of people have hookworm. Specifically, Joe Rogan talks about how the South was created around their drawl because hookworm creates a barrier between the mind and your speech. So they have a little bit more of a slower drawl because of hookworm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, couldn't these be symptoms for a lot of things
Hmm.
like menopause, like I don't know, migraines of people I've heard of people having a lot of physical feelings like migraines or nausea or whatever it is. So, how besides getting a test would you really know? I mean, if it's somebody that's having chronic issues that they can't figure out or,
Hmm.
how would you know that now it's time, let's look into whether or not you have a parasite?
I mean, without the real testing, it's just the best to be proactive and do this 3 to 4 times a year. Just knowing that with the Parafy kit, it's super easy. Just so you guys know, it's 3 tinctures in a binder. We give instructions. It's like the easiest cleanse you could ever do. It's simple. I wanted people to do it. And the reason why we say 3 to 4 times a year is the testing's not accurate, which I am working on that in the back end to have a little medical reform around this for people.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing is we just know that this is an issue. And once you know that it's an issue, you should be proactive and doing it like other countries. Like Mexico, they cleanse 2, 3 times a year. They know their water isn't great. They know that this can be an issue. So why not just help yourself if you have migraines and you don't feel well and you do a cleanse and then all of a sudden after you've done a parasite cleanse you feel good, one of your root causes very well could be a parasite and you just keep trying to make yourself feel better.
Okay, before we move on to the cleanse, because I'm
Mhm.
fascinated and I can't wait to try one, where do they live? Because I think they mostly live in the gut, right? But then why is Brandy saying that one's living in her face?
Yeah, they don't just live in the gut. There are actually just a few that live in our gut. Small intestinal parasites are pretty common. And I know this with my own health. I had small intestinal parasites. One of the symptoms, if you do have small intestinal parasites, is that when they become active, they make you feel unworthy. They make you question yourself because that's where that emotion comes. So when you look at it in a holistic point of view. It's your emotions are attached to different organs of your body. And when something's in there wreaking havoc, they're their own frequency. They're alive. And so they're going to wreak havoc because they don't want to be known, because they want to stay in you. We're the best host. But with what's going on with Brandy, there's a lot of different things, which we've reached out to her team a few times, and Vicky, and I'm friends with Taylor Armstrong. So I feel like they all just kind of need to flush their systems out, man. They're really, at this point in time, just really need to get a good cleanse in them because it's just helpful. But with what's going on with Brandy, there's a few things that could be going on with Brandy. Unfortunately, they do live in our blood, our tissue, and our muscle, and it isn't uncommon to have them do what's going on with her body.
It's not uncommon. Okay, so this
No.
thing that when she's showing people what's moving in
Mhm.
her face, that could actually be a parasite. I mean,
Yes.
because I know a lot of people are skeptical of what she says and says that it's filler that's moving and
Mhm.
she's gone a little, you know, crazy with filler or whatever. I'm not, but it does seem like the way she looks has absolutely changed. And it's
Yes.
more than just her face.
Yes, and I see this a lot. Literally, this is what I do every single day. I've never taken a day off of work since July 18th of 2021. I
Wow.
have people that send me pictures and videos every day. So what she is saying is 100% legitimate. I have also seen things under my skin. I have videos and pictures of people that have sent me things that are under their skin. And it's because they can live in our bodies anywhere. They can cross the blood-brain barrier that they get into their brain. RFK Jr. has neurosister sarcoma, which is a tapeworm of the brain. And it's because they're microscopic, they get into our blood, and then they can go and feed anywhere and lay their eggs anywhere. So he still has a dead physical tapeworm in his brain, but it's not active, causing him problems anymore or eating his brain. So it's really, this is really a thing.
Okay, I want to talk about cleansing and I want to get to parify. Um, what does cleansing mean? Does it mean it's actually killing it? Is it just coming out? What is going on when you cleanse?
Both.
Okay.
So the way that I created Parify was from my own personal experience as well as what the comments were saying in my viral TikToks. I come from pharmacy. I love learning about medicine and the human body. So all I did was tweak what the ailment is and add that herb as the frequency to destroy that ailment. So if you think about it in that way, but we have heavy metals in our body, right? And these things can hold up to 6 to 8 times their weight in heavy metals, spores, viruses, and bacteria. So when you're cleansing and you're in a killing state, which is what the herbs we use, wormwood, Oregon grapefruit, those are killing herbs. You then have to bring in supporting herbs to be able to flush them out of your body. So that's what we did, and that's why we call it a cleanse, is because you're detoxing, yet you're supporting at the same time, and you're doing multiple different ailments. So a lot of people know that when an opera singer sings, she can get her voice to where she can shatter glass. And
Mm.
that's all I did. I just brought in herbs that I know. Wormwood is an anti-parasitic. We have tapeworms that are in our body that we need to rid. And so I brought in hawthorn. We've got usnea, which is something that not a lot of people utilize. So we're not having an overabundance of it in our bodies nor in our environment. But one of the big things that makes our kit so special compared to other people's is I included an herb that breaks the biofilm, and they live in biofilm. And that's why they're so hard to detect, because biofilm is a hard shell that's around them, protecting them like an egg. And you have to break that to expose them. So once you burn their house down, which is biofilm, they're exposed. And then you can go in and just strategically remove them and everything that they could potentially drop when you're killing them off. So you don't want to kill them off with something like Ivor because it's going to drop heavy metals. You really need to go in and do a sweep behind when you're doing all of the anti-parasitics as well as anti-metal. Candida is an issue that we have. I mean, we all have yeast in our body. When it overgrows, it becomes candida, and candida changes your mind thoughts about food. And so they're here, man. They're here. It's crazy.